Ranger meeting yesterday. That didn't happen. Greater Manchester complained that the number 10 hadn't been in touch with them. So it's all very messy. But the back of all this, of course, is a threat from the Prime Minister on Friday at his news conference to intervene, as he put it. In other words, impose Tier 3 restrictions on Greater Manchester. Well, Mr Burnham has today set out his demands. If there is to be a level 3 restriction in Greater Manchester, they are 80% furlough payments, which is what Rishi Sunak provided earlier in the year, not the 67% he's now proposing. Payments also to freelance workers like taxi drivers, security, doormen and so on, and also help for business. Labour's Greater Manchester Mayor also hit out at those Tory MPs from the south of England who've been criticising him. But most of all, he is determined to try and get the best deal for his city, and he also is talking tough. There's no sign of a climb down from Mr Burnham yet.
I'll be writing to the main party leaders in Westminster to ask them to intervene, for Parliament to intervene here. What we need, Andrew, is a fair financial framework if the government are going to insist on Tier 3. At the moment, they're doing side deals with individual councils. So that isn't good enough for me. I'm not sure a sort of "we're all right, Jack" letter from a group of Southern Conservative MPs is going to cut much ice here. And I would say to them, some of them represent constituencies whose cases were higher than ours when we went into national lockdown. So they need to sort of look back at the whole of this, and their cases are higher than ours than when we went into Tier 3 restrictions.
Well, that dispute with Tories from the south of England came following a letter to Mr Burnham from a group of 20. Significantly, Mr Burnham was backed by Conservative MPs from Greater Manchester. So far, those Tories who represent seats in Greater Manchester are standing alongside, shoulder to shoulder, with Mr Burnham. That is strengthening his hand. He's got some doughty old campaigners there, including Sir Graham Brady, who chairs the 1922 committee. So far, Greater Manchester, it's not just the Labour mayor, but also Conservatives from Greater Manchester as well, who are taking this tough stand against the government. What's the likely outcome? Well, it's either going to be a deal at the 11th hour, more cash that Mr Burnham is demanding, or tomorrow we're going to see the government impose Tier 3 status on Greater Manchester. But that is likely to provoke a bitter backlash from those Conservative MPs as well as the Labour mayor.
All right, John, many thanks. We'll talk to you later. Let's just tell you about a special programme we have coming up. As COVID-19 cases rise rapidly and with ever-changing restrictions depending on where you live, what is the right approach in responding to this second wave? Well, in post-code lockdown, a divided nation will ask a live virtual audience plus a panel of experts which strategy they think is best in taking on the pandemic. So do join us tomorrow night from 9 o'clock. People who have been told to self-isolate through NHS Test and Trace could have their details passed on to the police. The Department of Health says police forces will have access to the information on a case-by-case basis. Sky's reporter Ivor Bennett has more now.
It's already proving pretty controversial this morning, not least because of the concerns it raises over privacy and surveillance. To be clear, first of all, this has nothing to do with the NHS Test and Trace app. That information, the government says, has not been shared with the police and will not be. Instead, this concerns the information collected by the call centres who do the physical contact tracing of people who say have tested positive at a test centre or at home with a home test kit and then posted that off and then told to self-isolate. It is, of course, a legal requirement to self-isolate following a positive test, and if you fail to do so, you could be fined up to £10,000. What this means is that police forces across England can now access information about who has been told to self-isolate, and if they receive reports of someone who isn't self-isolating who should be, then they could be passed that person's name, address and contact details. Clearly, concerns, as I say, raised over privacy and surveillance, but also concerns raised by the British Medical Association that police involvement could actually put people off getting tested altogether, which is certainly not what the government would want. A spokesperson from the Department of Health has said in a statement the memorandum of understanding ensures that information is shared with appropriate safeguards and in accordance with the law. No testing or health data is shared in this process. There are questions, though, I think, over whether or not the police would actually act on any of this data, because I think it would require a fair amount of resource to be put into following up an individual case. A spokesperson for the National Police Chiefs Council, though, has said that we will continue to encourage voluntary compliance, but will enforce regulations and issue fixed penalty notices where appropriate and necessary. Officers will engage with individuals to establish their circumstances using their discretion wherever it is reasonable to do so. Clearly, this is a system that relies on the public having confidence in it, but I think some of that confidence will be dented as a result of this.
But of course, London is now starting to live under Tier 2 restrictions. But what exactly will that mean for businesses and livelihoods across the capital? Well, let's speak now to Sky's Milena Veselinovic, who is in Soho. And one would expect Soho on a Sunday afternoon to be bustling, wouldn't they? So what's it like at the moment?
Yes, as you say, normally it is the beating heart of London's hospitality sector, and especially on Sunday at lunchtime. But if you take a look behind me, it is looking pretty empty. Tables have been set outside to try to adjust to this new rule that separate households can no longer meet indoors. And for that reason, this street has actually been closed to traffic. However, it's still looking pretty empty. On a regular Sunday, you would be lucky to get as much as a walk-in spot in one of these venues. But restaurant owners say they've been hit hard by these new rules, and they're particularly angry because the government hasn't officially shut them down, which means that they don't qualify for any extra aid. So they have to try to weather these really difficult times ahead with a severely hampered business, fewer customers, but without being able to access any extra funding. And another point that venue owners are frankly quite confused about is the enforcement of these new rules. One pub landlord said that if a group of people walked through his door, how is he to know if they all live together? Is he supposed to check their proof of residence? This is what one bar owner told us earlier on today.
The new rules have made it extremely stressful to run a business now. Obviously, from every hospitality venue point of view, we want to keep everybody safe. We want everyone safe in our venues, but some rules are impossible to enforce.
So there's no doubt that there are difficult times ahead, not just for venues in London, but really across the country. Businesses are trying to find creative ways to weather the difficult times ahead. But UK hospitality industry bodies are warning that for many businesses, they already have reached the point of no return.
All right, Milena, thank you very much indeed in Soho there for us.